Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today, we are going to be making a teapot. And if I say flower pot in this video, know that I mean teapot. Sometimes, I just forget. I didn't wedge the clay on camera, but I did do it off camera. I just forgot to record it. Wedging is just folding the clay in on top of itself to get rid of the air bubbles. Once it's wedged, I took the clay, stick it on the bat, and cone up and down. That centers the clay and also makes sure that there are no air bubbles in it. Once I have this puck for the actual teapot's body, I'll use the sponge and dig my hand into the center. This creates that little donut shape that you see, and with this donut shape I'm able to use the sponge in my right hand and pull up the actual walls of the teapot. I'm going to continue using the sponge to pull up the walls to my desired height, and once that's accomplished, I'm going to stretch out the walls into that teapot shape, or depending on what you're making, it can just be whatever shape you want, but generally you start out with a cylinder and then you go into shaping the actual piece. Now that I have the shape to my liking, I'm going to use this red rubber kidney tool to smoothen out the outside. It's not completely necessary because you're going to trim it, but I like to do it and clean everything up by cutting off the little skirt of clay in the bottom, and then I always like to clean off the bat when I'm done. I'm going to use these metal calipers to measure the diameter of the opening of the teapot. This is because you need to know exactly how wide your lid should be so that it's not too big and doesn't go on, or if it's too small, it'll fall into the teapot. Now that I'm done with that, I can actually start making the lid. Same thing, wedge the clay, create a little puck, but instead of creating that donut shape by digging my fingers into it, I'm actually just going to leave it as a puck. Again, I use these calipers to make sure that the diameter is slightly larger than the diameter of the teapot body. This is because I can always trim parts of the lid to be a little smaller, but if I go too small, I can't add any more clay. Once that's done, I'll use my 4 fingers to just shape this handle from this puck into the actual lid. You can do this by when I push down on the clay, it forces the center upwards, and that's how I got this handle to pop out right there. Now that I have the actual shape to my liking, I'll use the sponge to clean it up, double check with the calipers, and then I'll clean up the bat and use the wire cutter to slice off the actual lid. It's important to slice off the lid now, because if you don't and it dries to the bat, you're not going to be able to get it off. So slice it now and then let it dry. Now that that's done, we can work on the actual spout. Know that this is my 3rd attempt. Creating the spouts are not easy because they're so small and delicate, it's really easy to mess them up and break them. I started with this larger stump of clay. Again, I did my coning and everything, and now I'm going to use my pointer finger along with my other hand to just pull the clay up and around my pointer finger. I can also use my other hands to just create the shape that I want, like that narrowing towards the top and then the wider on the bottom. I'll also use this metal tool, just the actual handle of it, in place of my pointer finger, because at some point my fingers become too large and I want the hole to be narrower. So I'll use the metal as a guide, and then I'll just push my fingers from my left hand into the actual spout against the metal to create that more delicate looking shape. Now that I have the shape and the height that I want, I'll use the red rubber kidney again to smoothen it out and make sure that it looks good. I'm going to let it dry for a little bit, about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to use my hand and actually bend the spout. Most spouts are actually curved in teapots. You can keep them straight, but I just don't like the look of it. Now, note here, I cut the spout off at an angle, because if I cut it completely perpendicularly to the direction of the spout, it's just going to protrude straight off of the teapot, and that looks kind of weird. Most teapots have like the spout coming at an angle upwards so that when you pour it and you tilt down, you have a little bit of leeway. Once everything dries overnight, to that leather hard state where it's not too wet and not too dry, I'll start trimming everything. I just trimmed the body by sticking those 3 clay pieces around it after tap centering it, smoothing it out, and then to trim the actual lid, I just put it upside down into the teapot body. This acts as like a little form and holds it into place. As you see here, you can actually see me digging this hole into the center of the lid. This is because of the drying process. If I don't create that hole and allow air to go through, it's going to dry unevenly to where the actual handle is going to dry first and the lid itself is going to dry after. And when everything shrinks, or when everything dries, it shrinks. So if it shrinks at uneven rates, it's going to crack, and that's why you see me drilling this hole into the top of the lid. Alright, now it is time to start the handle of the teapot itself. To do that, I'll use this clay and my arm to roll it out into just this small cylinder. You can use your forearm, your palm, whatever it takes to create it about this thin. Once it's that thin, I'll use my hand and water and just pinch and slide my hand rapidly down the clay to shape it. And I'm going for an oval shape, and once I have that, I will hang it to dry just a little bit. Once it's dry, I'm gonna fold it into the shape of the teapot and then scratch out these little grooves in the actual body, and that's gonna help the bond stay strong when I use the slip or the mud in this jar to attach the handle. Now you may notice that the spout is already on. All I did was the exact same thing with the handle, except I just cut out a little hole in the body for the spout, just so that you can put a liquid in it and it'll still pour. I just forgot to press film. Other than that, it's really simple. It's just like gluing 2 pieces together. That's the teapot for you. If you enjoyed the video, check out my other ceramics ones. I also have new content coming out, and if you think that it provided some value to you, I would appreciate if you like and subscribe. Other than that, have a good day. Bye.